I almost skipped this anime because of its title. Seriously, I made friends with the second prettiest girl in my class sounds like the most painfully generic romance anime imaginable. The kind of show you watch for 5 minutes, predict the entire plot, and immediately drop. But somehow, this ended up becoming one of the biggest romance surprises of the season, because underneath that ridiculously light novel title is a romance that does something most anime in this genre completely fail at. It treats its characters like actual people. And after watching it week after week, I genuinely think a lot of people are overlooking something special here. So let's talk about why Second Prettiest Girl, as the community's been calling it, is probably the most quietly impressive romance anime of the spring 2026 season. The show comes from Studio Connect, adapting a light novel series by author Takata. Our main character is Maki Mayahara. He's an introvert, a loner, and his class introduction at the start of episode 1 is painfully awkward in the most relatable way possible. He likes games, movies, snacks, basically the things you'd hesitate to say out loud in front of 30 new classmates. And right after him, in walks Umi Asanagi, confident, warm, effortlessly charming, the girl the class has quietly decided ranks second only to the class idol, Yu Amami. The setup practically writes itself. Lonely guy, popular girl, fate works its magic. You can already see the whole formula playing out before episode 1 even ends. But then something unexpected happens. Not an isekai truck moment, not some contrived setup, just a video store. Maki reaches for a movie. Umi is already there. And away from school, away from the social world she lives inside every single day, her real personality just comes out. She's funny, a little blunt, into the exact same obscure stuff he never told anyone about. The conversation flows in a way that feels genuinely unscripted, and before long, these two have exchanged contacts and started spending time together. And they keep it secret, because in their school's social world, she is near the top and he's not. It's a small detail that adds a lot of texture. This isn't just a popular girl deciding to fix some sad guy. It's two people carving out a private space that belongs only to them. Now, if this were a different show, we'd spend the next 8 episodes watching Maki stammer every time Umi got close to him, watching manufactured misunderstandings tear them apart and reunite them on a loop. We've all been through that cycle. It's exhausting. What Second Prettiest Girl does differently, and what I think is genuinely underrated, is the communication. Maki actually talks. He expresses himself. He doesn't collapse into a puddle every time Umi teases him. He handles it. He says real things when the moment calls for it. That sounds like such a small thing, but in this genre, it is enormous. It means Maki feels like a person who actually exists in the world, not just a placeholder the narrative shuffles around for dramatic convenience. You understand why Umi is drawn to him. He's present. He listens. When things get heavy, he doesn't fumble around helplessly. He just shows up and says the right thing because he actually pays attention. That quality ripples outward to the rest of the cast, too. Yu, who could easily have been a one-note class idol character, has her own personality and her own perspective on things. She has genuine history with Umi, and that friendship adds real weight to the story, rather than just functioning as set dressing. The show keeps doing this. Every time you think you know the shape of where it's heading, it takes a slightly different turn. It trusts that the relationship itself is interesting enough to carry everything, without constantly pumping the brakes or inventing reasons to keep the characters apart. And that creates a kind of momentum that most romance anime just don't have. Umi, as a character, deserves way more credit than I've seen her get in the conversation around this show. She's not a prize. She's not a fantasy. She has pressures she navigates quietly, a private world she only opens up with Maki, and a genuine warmth that never feels performed. There's something really affecting about watching a character like her choose, completely on her own terms, to let someone in. The early dynamic between Maki and Umi, it's just good. Genuinely good. The kind of friendship building that makes you root for both of them as people before you even think about the romance. That foundation matters. It's what separates shows like this from ones that feel hollow by episode 4. Look, the season still has episodes left to run and nothing is guaranteed. Shows like this can stumble in the back half. That's just the reality. Romance anime doesn't need some massive twist to work. It doesn't need forced drama, endless misunderstandings, or 12 episodes of two characters refusing to say what they feel. Sometimes all it takes is two people who genuinely connect, and a story confident enough to let that connection breathe. That's why this show works. It understands that the quiet moments matter most. And if it sticks the landing, I honestly think this could end up being one of those romance anime people keep recommending years from now. So if you've been ignoring it because of that absurdly long title, yeah, you might be making the same mistake I almost did.